Hello there, Facebook. Hello, hello. How are you? All right. Y'all know I gotta share this with my people. Uh-oh. I do that every time. I go to the wrong thing. Hello, Facebook family. Come on in. Hello, hello, hello. Hey there. Say hi when you hop on for me. Okay, I'm going to share this to my group really quick. Unstuck and Unstoppable Lady Bosses. Hey, Rhonda. How are you? Hey, Steve. How are you? Hello. I'm so glad y'all are here. So glad. There's this new feature on Facebook now that lets us wave at people. I think that is so cool. All right, let me share this to my page real quick. And done. All right, so how are you doing today? How is your day going? Your night going? All right, 1 second. All right, so I wanted to talk today because I got some praise hands. I wanted to talk today because I had a major aha moment this morning. I was doing my mindset work, and I've been doing some work around my money mindset, right? And I just have you ever just read something? I was reading something in a book, and then I was doing this exercise, and it just totally clicked, right? And it really solidified for me why I do things the way that I do with my coaching clients, right? Because here's the thing. I think everybody maybe teaches this a little bit different. With coffee. Steve, I haven't had coffee this will be my 4th week that I have been without coffee. This is my last week that I'm doing my little, this practice that I'm doing. So I had been without coffee for 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks. And I'm doing okay, but I cannot wait to go to my favorite coffee shop and get me a nice, beautiful cappuccino or latte or something like that. Hello there. Let's see, Somali. I might be saying your name wrong, but hello. All right, so this is why you're stuck. So here's what I was doing. I was doing my work today around money mindset. And one of my core beliefs, I love my coffee too, I know. Can't wait to get it back. One of my core beliefs is that in order for us to get where we want to go, we have to actually look at the stuff within us that is stopping us, right? Like we've got to look at we've got to look at the negative emotions. We got to look at the, emotional hurts and wounds and all that stuff. We have to look at that, address that before we can actually move on, right? And I know a lot of people feel a different way about this because some people feel like, well, with the law of attraction, what you focus on is what you attract. And while I do believe that, I totally get that. Yes, what you focus on, you do attract. My mindset and the way that I do my work and the process that I take my clients through is that we're not simply looking at your negative emotions or your negative beliefs or the past wounds and hurts simply just to look at them and dwell on them. It's always with the intention of moving through them, right? So that's kind of how I look at this. There's a difference between sitting in your negative emotions, sitting in self-pity, or sitting in, frustration, or sitting in, hurt. That's one way, right? And yes, if you sit in that and you just choose to be in that space, yes, you will continue to keep attracting more of the same to you. But on the other hand, if you're looking at the reasons why you're maybe sad or frustrated or irritated. Hey, Sarah, how are you? If you're looking at those areas with the intention of moving through them, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Hey, Hope. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. What is this emotion trying to tell me, right? Do you see the difference? There's a difference between sitting in self-pity, wallowing in self-pity, oh my gosh, why am I here? Versus, okay, I'm feeling bad right now. I don't like how I'm feeling. what is this emotion trying to tell me? What do I need to do to move through it, right? To move forward? What do I need to do different? There's a difference. And so for me, when I work with my clients, that's how I look at this, is we've got to look at the underlying reasons as to why you're getting in your way. What emotions are getting in your way? What beliefs are getting in your way? And then we look at actually replacing them, right? So, and I'm giving you this foundation for a reason, then I'm going to get into kind of my big aha moment, right? So the way I look at the process is you've got to, number one, realize what's going on inside of you, right? So a lot of the work that I do on myself and that I do with my clients is getting you to realize your beliefs around certain areas, right? Because a lot of the times our beliefs that we have, they are beliefs that we have lived with our whole life. You have become used to them. They're automatic to you. You respond automatically. But it's not until somebody on the outside looking in can say, okay, wait a minute. Do you realize that when we talk about money, you get triggered? Or wait a minute, do you realize that you are placing blame on your spouse or your kids because you don't have this? Do you realize? So when you have somebody that's helping you to see it, then it becomes front of mind. Then you become conscious of it, right? So number one is realizing. And then the next step is then going through the process of releasing that negative belief, that negative story, that negative emotion, right? So it's all about, setting the intention and doing the work to release that thing. And then the last step is then replacing what you just released. So if we're talking negative emotions here, we're talking about the stuff that keeps you stuck, then you've got to now replace that with a new story. You've got to replace it with a new belief. You've got to replace it with a new thought process, right? So it's realize, release, and replace, okay? And so here's what I find a lot of people want to do. They want to just focus only on the positive, right? Well, I'll say my affirmations, or I'll read all of my books that I need to read. I'll go to seminars. I'll do this. I'll, do all the positive things, right? I'll listen to affirmations while I sleep. I'll do, all this stuff, but they're not even looking at the negative emotions and beliefs that are still within. And what we're doing when we do that, it's like mixing oil and water. Right? It's like mixing oil and water. So Steve says, yeah, no point running away from them because you will always come back to them. Exactly. Right? I mean, and that's how we're designed. And that's why I always say that our emotions and our feelings and the stuff that's inside of us they come to the surface for a reason. They come to the surface to navigate us to where we need to go. It's when we ignore them, when we kind of don't want to look at them, that we keep coming back to the same thing. We keep relearning the same lessons over and over and over again. And that creates pain. And a lot of people want to run away from the pain, but we've got to lean into it, right? We've got to lean into it with an intention of, I'm going to look at this because I'm looking at it from the place of releasing it, right? So you can't mix oil and water. So if you look at your negative emotions as oil, right? Sadness, frustration, feeling like you're stuck, feeling hopeless, feeling irritated, all those negative emotions, those are oil. And when you think of positive emotions, joy, happiness, gratitude, love, that's water, right? So it doesn't do you any good to take all these beautiful emotions over here, love, gratitude, joy, and all that, and place it into the same bucket with the oil that has the negative, beliefs there, right? Because what's going to happen? Those negative beliefs are going to keep coming to the surface and keep coming to the surface and keep coming to the surface. So here's my aha today. I was doing some work around my money mindset, right? And I know that I have a part of my programming is fear around money, right? Fear of money running out. Like I grew up not in a household that had tons and tons of money, right? I grew up watching my mother, struggle and just trying to make ends meet and, wondering how she was going to make ends meet and working 3 jobs to try to make ends meet and doing all this stuff, right? And so I learned to fear money. I learned that, money, that there wasn't enough money in this world, right? I learned that you've got to, work really, 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 really hard in order to have money, right? So that was something that I learned. And we learn these things. We learn how to show up in different situations in our life, whether it be with money, relationships, business, whatever, we learn how to show up when we were younger by what we have seen. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to stop for a second. Hope says, so simply replacing negative self-talk with positive self-talk isn't really helping. Well, here's the thing. Okay. I'm going to get to that point, Hope. I'm going to get to that, okay? I'm not going to forget, because there is a point that I want to talk about around that, and I'll get to that for you. So here's the thing. We learn how to show up and how to behave around different areas in our life. It's a learned behavior, right? So the thing is, if we're not looking at why we get triggered around certain things, we're going to keep coming back to the same thing. And so I started thinking about this about money. I was like, okay, if I have fear around money, if I have this belief that money can run out, if I have this belief that there's never enough, if I have this belief that, I'm not worthy of X amount of dollars, if I have this belief that only certain types of people can make X amount of dollars, if that is my core belief, if that's how I was programmed, right? And a lot of that is my programming, then I'm never going to allow myself to actually be open to creating more. Do you get that? Because it's like I'll constantly be hitting up against this belief that is counteractive to what it is that I say that I desire. So I can say all day that I want more money, I want to be rich, I want to be happy, I want to meet the love of my life, whatever it is. I can say that all day, but if at my core, I don't believe that I can actually attain it, that I'm actually worthy of it, that I'm actually able to have such a thing. If I don't believe that at my core, then I'm going to just keep hitting a wall, right? But it's when you look at the stories behind those beliefs, So I had to ask myself, well, Kendra, what is your, why do you have fear around money, right? Where does that come from? And I went back on this journey of thinking about different scenarios where I learned in my past, where I learned that money was bad, or that money was limited, right? Or that love was conditional, for instance. So I had to look at those stories. And while those stories were not fun to look at, I looked at them from the space of, hey, bunny. I looked at them from the space of, okay, what do I need to learn from this, right? This is what it taught me. Now, what do I get to choose, right? I understand why it's there, and I can allow myself to feel the emotion of it. I can allow myself to release the emotion of it. I can allow myself to purge that out of my system, and then lovingly accept it, right? And know that it's there, and then at the same time, replace it with what is going to support me better, right? So here's the thing. Whenever you have any fear around something or any negative emotion around something, you are triggering. You've heard of your fight or flight response, right? I know you have. It's a physiological response that we all have as humans. So when we're in a state of being fearful about something, when we're in a state of being tense around, I'm using money as an example because I'm doing work around my money mindset. So if we're tense around money, if we're scared around money, if we believe that money may run out and I've got to hold on to it, right? We are activating our fight or flight response, and we're telling our body that we've got to get prepared to either fight or to flee, all right? And here's how this shows up. Our fight or flight response is beautiful, right? There's a reason why it's there. Back in the day, we used our fight or flight response to protect ourselves from the tigers, the wolves, the things out in nature that would try to threaten our survival, right? Well, in today's world, we're not necessarily running away from bears and tigers. We have things in our life now that triggers a fight or flight response, right? You bounce a check, you're sitting in traffic, the kids are acting crazy and acting up. You're preparing for a presentation, you are looking for a new job, whatever it is, it's going to trigger your fight or flight response, right? When that happens, there's only one or two things that you're going to do. You're either going to fight, which is going to look like you mentally being frustrated, irritated, overwhelmed, stressed out, feeling, not really having any mental clarity, not taking action and being stagnant, right? Or you're going to flee, which is to run away, which means you're not even going to look at it. You're not even going to address it. You're going to pretend like it's not even there. I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to, you'll distract yourself by doing something else, right? Maybe you go shopping, or you go talk to a friend, or you'll go do whatever, but you're going to distract yourself because you don't want to deal with it. And see, when we get into that loop of constantly always being in this fight or flight response, then we're not able to actually move through anything because our mind and our body is tied up and trying to keep us safe, right? Trying to get this perceived safety that we think that we need in the moment, right? So here's what you've got to do. We can't bypass our negative emotions and think that we can just put the positive on top. We cannot do that. We have got to become self-aware of how our mind and our body responds to the things in our life that we really want to change. If you're wanting more income in your life, you're wanting a better relationship, you're wanting to launch your business, you're wanting to show up more confidently, whatever it is for you, you've got to begin to look at how you are responding to all of these things in your life. Right? How are you responding whenever you are given the opportunity to show up more confidently? Are you freaking out? Are you telling yourself, I can't do this? I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to forget my words. What if I stumble? What if I do this? Right? Is that the language that's going on? If that is, then it's looking at where does that come from? What experiences have you had in your past that have led you to create this belief that you're not good enough to stand on stage and deliver an amazing presentation, or that you're not good enough to be one of the top leaders in your organization, or that you're not good enough to command certain fees for your services, right? You got to look at that. And the reason why, because here's the thing, and this is getting to hope what your question is, where you said, so simply replacing negative self-talk with positive self-talk isn't really helping. It will help you in the short term, right? So if you walk around all day and you're just like, yes, I'm excited, I'm powerful, I'm a leader, I got this, I'm making great money, I'm wealthy, whatever it may be. If you're saying that over and over again, yes, you're going to see some short-term results. But what happens is you won't be able to maintain it. Right? And my goal with the clients that I work with is to teach them this process so that they can maintain their level of positivity, so they can maintain their level of high vibe, right? So that they can maintain their level of being open and loving and accepting and looking for new opportunities and getting into action, right? So with this, that's just like, let me put it to you this way. That's just like, you know, you have people that win the lottery, right? And then all of a sudden you see a couple of years later, they're like broke again. Okay, well, they had some money issues and beliefs around money inside that they didn't deal with. And so if they don't deal with those things that are inside, if they're not dealing with them, then those beliefs are going to come to the surface to sabotage every single time and take them back to where they were. So that's what I mean by not being able to maintain. So you can't go out and say, well, I'm going to go buy this Maserati, right? And then not be able to actually maintain the $4,000 bill that comes in for oil changes and maintenance. Right? What's going to happen? The Maserati is going to like sit and it's going to dwindle away, and it's not going to be able to perform like you desire for it to perform because you did not have the means to actually maintain it. Okay, so when you start working through your emotions and you start sitting with them and you start looking at the stories behind them and you start clearing them, then, hey Tina, hey Patty, hey Aunt Patty, how are you? So then when you start working through that and dealing with those things, then you can replace them with new beliefs that are going to be more, that are going to adhere to you a bit better than if you just try to put the positive on top of the negative, right? So anytime that you are in a state of fear, right? You're in this place where you feel like you're stuck. You don't know what to do. I want to make change, but I feel like I can't make change. I'm scared to do this. I'm afraid to be more visible. I'm afraid to ask for, the fee for my service, whatever that is. When you're in that space, then you're so focused. Your mind and your body is so focused on keeping you out of this perceived danger that you don't take action. right? Opportunities can be flowing through you left and right in your face. But because you're so focused on survival, your mind and your body is so focused on survival that everything that comes your way is seen through the lens of this could potentially harm me. This could potentially hurt me. So what do? You don't take action, right? And then you get frustrated with yourself because you're like, why am I not taking any action? Because we're not addressing the core emotions and the core beliefs that are going on inside of you, right? So Hope says, without it being a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Okay, and so okay. I had a mentor once that told me, she said to me, this is when I was in real estate. I used to do real estate several years ago in my early 20s. And of course I was nervous. I was a new real estate agent. And I had to go out, and I was working for a semi-custom builder. And I had a partner, but we only made commissions off of who came through the door and if I was the procuring cost of the sale, right? So I was nervous. I was scared. Like, I was afraid to talk to people. I was afraid to follow up with people. I was afraid to put myself out there. And one of the things that she told me is, she's like, Kendra, you got to fake it until you make it, right? And I thought, yes, I could do that all day, right? Like, I can show up and I could put on my nice, suit, and I could have my hair nice and have my makeup on, and I can, learn the scripts, and I can learn exactly what to say, and I'll make it. But see, again, that's only short-term success, right? And your goal, I know, and my goal is to have long-term success, to be able to position ourselves in a way where we have longevity with our success, right? So if you're faking it till you make it, you may make it, but then you will sabotage yourself in order to get back to where you were because your belief blueprint has not been adjusted. Right? So if you don't believe that you're worthy of creating $100,000 income a year, then you may create it. Hey, Danetta. So you may create that, but you're not going to allow yourself to actually maintain it, because then the old beliefs are going to come up that says, well, do I deserve this? Did I work hard enough for this? Or I feel guilty for this, right? Or I don't know if I'm allowed to have this, or what do I even do with this, right? So you will sabotage yourself the whole entire time to bring you back down to where you were, right? So faking it till you make it will only get you so far. Okay. I did a live stream about that, I think about a year or so ago, where I was like, that was the worst advice that I'd ever been given, was to fake it till you make it, because I kept thinking in my mind, I believed, well, if I just fake it and pretend like I got all my stuff together, then it'll happen. No. What ended up happening is people seeing a shell of Kendra who looked all put together, who looked all happy with a smile on her face, but inside she was freaking dying because she was not actually living in a way that her soul desired, right? I felt like I was in bondage. I felt like I was just going through the motions, right? But in my mind, I kept having those words, and my mentor repeated to me, Kendra, just keep faking it till you make it, fake it till you make it. And along that journey, I was just in bondage on the inside. My soul was dying. What are you doing? This is not how you do this. You need to look at why you keep getting in your own way. You need to look at why you keep getting in your head, right? And this is all this that I'm talking about is what we cover in my course that's open right now, Break Through Your Limits. And because I believe wholeheartedly that until you actually look at your negative belief system, then you're never going to really make lasting change, right? That's the whole reason why people do detoxes, right? That's the whole reason why people will, do cleanses. Why? Because if you're wanting to, get yourself to a healthy lifestyle, and you want to, make sure your body is absorbing all of the vitamins and minerals that you're giving it, then you've got to get all the toxins and crap out of the way so that the vitamins and minerals can actually penetrate your cells and your muscles and all that good stuff to actually provide you with what you need, right? So the same thing goes with your negative emotions, with the wounds that you're holding on to, right? I had to do, probably about a month ago, not even a month ago, I would say probably over the past 6 years, I've been doing a lot of work on my emotional state around my broken relationship with my mom, right? I've got so much hurt where it comes into my relationship with my mom. And that hurt has showed up in many ways, in ways of me feeling like that I'm not worthy, feeling like that love is conditional, feeling like that I have to be a certain way in order to make other people happy, and so it's created all these things. And so I've had to work on those things. And I continue to work on the wounds and healing the wounds and forgiving and moving forward and, loving and accepting myself as I am and all that good stuff. Because if I don't, the old wounds that are inside of me, that little girl inside of me who's wounded and broken and feels abandoned and alone, is going to sabotage every effort that I make to put myself out there, to be more visible, to show up as an authority in what it is that I do, right? So it's so important to deal with that. Here's another concept that I really want to kind of bring to light as well. I need some water. Let me know if y'all have questions or thoughts. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is, and this was brought to my attention actually, not long ago, is we need to look at how we are motivated. How are you motivated? And most people will say, well, you think that you're motivated, by money, or you think that you're motivated by encouragement and all this good stuff. But a lot of the times, whenever you have grown up in maybe an environment that wasn't the most, if you grew up in an environment where it was all about struggle, if you grew up in an environment where it was all about hustle, 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 strive, and barely making ends meet, then you have the potential, and I know at least with me, I'll just speak for myself, you have the potential then to have that blueprint where you're motivated when you get yourself into the hard places, right? So just think about the moments in your life where you really hustled your butt off and you made some things happen. Typically, you find that has happened whenever you were in a space of fear, whenever you were in a space of, really harsh struggle, where you feel like that it's either I do this or I die, right? It's like I got to do this or something horrible is going to happen, or either I do this or I'm not going to be able to eat tomorrow, or it's either I do this or I won't be able to, buy the kids clothes for school, whatever it is. And when we grow up in that environment, and when we learn that, then we tend to kind of do the same things. And so with me, my own pattern I noticed is that I would get really motivated when I hit rock bottom. When I would have those anxiety episodes that I used to have, I would come out of that on fire, blazing, nope, I'm not doing this, I'm changing, blah, 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 blah. And I would just be hell on wheels, right? Moving forward. And I would have some success. But I wasn't addressing the core issues, right? And so what that taught me is that I was motivated by fear. I was motivated by struggle, motivated by, by the hurt. And that can serve you if you understand where that comes from and you move forward with the intention of choosing to be motivated by love instead, right? Choosing to be motivated by ease instead. So look at what motivates you. A lot of us are motivated by fear. We're motivated by, oh my God, if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. And that's just, it's not a healthy cycle to be in my opinion, right? I don't want to be in that cycle where I feel like I have to, be in a really tough situation before I actually start taking the action that I know that I need to take, right? Fear, being in that space of fear, it holds you back from actually seeing evidence of what your true desires are. So when you're in a state of operating from your negative emotions, operating from, a space of lack or a space of, victimhood or a space of, anything negative, you're not able to see the positive evidence in front of you that shows you that you can have what you desire, right? So, for me, I used to look at people who made tons of money and I used to think, well, it must be easy for them, right? It's easy for them to do that because of XYZ, or it's easy for her to do that because of XYZ, right? I had these excuses I would make. But what that kept me from seeing was that if this person could do it, Kendra, if this person could have this success, then that means that you can too. But because I was operating from the lens of fear and from the lens of struggle and from the lens of frustration, it was all about they have what I don't have, so that makes me mad. And I was just staying in this same cycle, right? Does that make sense? So now when I see somebody who is at a higher level than I am, I'm freaking happy. Like I'll do this thing, like if I'm on Facebook, I'll like send them love. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sending you love. That is so awesome, so amazing. And I'll comment sometimes, or put a heart or whatever. But I do that purposely because I'm training myself to operate when I see evidence in front of me, to see it as evidence and I get to have it too. I'm not looking at it as it's the lack that I don't have. I'm looking at it from a space of, oh my gosh, I can have that. That is mine too. And I'm going to share this love, and I'm going to share, and shower this person with gratitude and love, because that's what's going to come back to me, right? And I know that I'm capable of it as well. So when you're in that space, then you're able to see opportunities when they come at you, right? So when I'm in that space, when I need the mentor or the coach or the business opportunity to move me forward, I can see it clearly, right? I'm not keeping myself on the hamster wheel of fear and of what if and of, oh my gosh, what if I do this, right? We don't take action. There are things out in this world that when you're in a space of fear, when you're in a space of struggle, there are things in this world that you can invest in that you will not invest in because you're so afraid that something bad's going to happen. Your mind is telling you, your programming is telling you that something bad's going to happen if you do that. Oh no, don't invest in that program, because what if you invest in that program and this happens? Or what if you invest in that program and this happens? Or what if you spend money on that purse that you really desire to have and then this happens, right? Or what if you put money in that stock option over there and then the stock market plummets? What if this happens? And so when we choose to be directed by those thoughts and those fears, then what happens is that we just don't take action. And as a result, you don't see any forward movement, right? And so I'm so passionate about this. And this is the exact work that we do in my program, Break Through Your Limits, where I take you through that process I mentioned earlier around realizing, first of all, what it is that is holding you back, stopping you, that's on the inside of you, releasing it, and then replacing it with what it is that you need to believe and to be showing up as, so that you can receive what you desire, right? You guys are awfully quiet. Do you have questions or thoughts or anything? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to share on this, but it was just a big aha moment for me to see that, as I am working through, elevating my money mindset and enhancing my money mindset, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, if I sit down and if I'm going to my mailbox and I'm pulling the mail out and there's bills, if my thought or my feeling inside is, oh my gosh, another bill, here we go again. If that's my thought, I literally have just put up a block for more money to even come into my experience. Instead, my way of looking at this now is I see a bill come in the mail and I express gratitude for it. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much, because this bill means that I've been able to experience a service that benefited me at some point in time. Whether it was a doctor's bill, if I get a doctor's bill in the mail, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I'm able to actually go to the doctor and get the care that I need, right? That I was able to actually go and get the service that I needed, right? When I look at my credit card bill, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that, I was able to utilize this credit card to get the coaching that I needed, or to be able to invest in my business the way that I wanted to, or to be able to, go on that vacation I went on. So it's taking the heaviness away from it. It's taking the guilt out of it and feeling guilty because, I'm a bad adult because of XYZ. It's moving that away and replacing it with what we desire, okay? But at the same time, getting really clear on your stories, getting really clear on, why you think the things that you do, right? Hey, Georgia, how are you? Welcome. It's about getting clear around all of that. Until you get clear around that, until you look at the shadows, if you will, and some people call this shadow work, where you're looking at those shadows that you really don't want to deal with, until you look at them, you're never going to be free from them. Right? They're going to keep blocking you. They're going to keep coming up in the most inopportune moments, right? And that's not what you want, is it? No, that's not what you want. So we've got to to learn that there's work to do. And the other point that I want to make about this, you guys, is that this is a practice. Right? It is a practice. That's why I really am, what's the word? I am like a bulldog when it comes to me being really tenacious and stubborn about getting my mindset time in every single day. If I don't get anything done in a day, I'm getting some mindset work done. I'm meditating, I'm doing a hypnosis, I'm writing in my journal, I'm doing EFT, I'm doing something to get my mind where it needs to be, right? I'm doing something to address the emotions that are coming up inside of me, looking at them and releasing them. I'm doing something because it's a practice. The more you practice doing this, the more you practice looking at, you know, where these emotions are coming from, the stories behind these emotions, and what experiences maybe have created the beliefs that are coming up inside of you. The more you do that and get clear on that, release them and then replace them, you begin to do this so much quicker, right? So I can look at something now. I can look at, you know, an investment, and I could easily see that, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little nervous about this. I'm getting a little scared about this. I can feel my mind telling me, oh my God, what if this happens? I can instantly feel that. I can instantly tap into where that stems from. I can instantly release it and replace it. And it becomes a habit that you do that gets easier. So like when I was sitting on the couch earlier doing some money stuff, I was digging into some of the not so pretty stuff around my beliefs around money, my thoughts around money, and my past around money. And I could literally feel my neck and my shoulders get tight. I mean, literally, I could feel them. So the thing is, we've got to tune into ourselves, you all. We are housed in such a beautiful, magnificent, intelligent body that will tell you, that will give you signals when something isn't right. Okay? And when we don't pay attention to our body, I had to take a breath. When we don't pay attention to our body, when we don't pay attention to the cues that it's trying to give us, then that stale, stagnant emotion, energy inside of us then manifests into other things, right? So for me, it manifests into anxiety, right? I mean, y'all, when I was in a place where I was so stressed, I just call it my dark time. I call it my dark moment. When I was in my dark moment, I was having anxiety episodes like boom, 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 boom. I mean, and in the most inopportune times. I mean, just in the middle of the day, I could be at work, I could be watching TV, I could be, playing with my daughter, and boom, an anxiety attack would hit, right? And it would take me out of the game for like the rest of the day, the rest of the night, into the next day, because my body was trying to tell me, Kendra, there's some healing, there's some wounds, there's some things you need to look at, right? There's some emotional, stuck, stagnant energy that you need to address and release. And if you don't release it, then it turns into this whole level of anxiety, right? Which then, if we don't deal with that, turns into other things, right? Like disease and things of that nature, right? So it's time to like fully wake up to ourselves. It's time to love and accept all parts of ourselves. It's time to lovingly look at our stories, look at our past experiences, those things that really hurt us. We've got to look at them, right? And I know that it hurts. I get it, right? As I do my work around my whole mom abandonment, challenges, there are times that I still cry, right? And I still feel the pain. I still feel the hurt, but it's from a space of not being the victim of it, but instead it's from a space of I'm loving and accepting this emotion that's coming through me right now. I'm sitting with it. I'm feeling it. I know where it comes from. I know the experience that it comes from. I know that this is just my body reacting to something that it was exposed to years ago. I get to change it now, right? So when we can look at ourselves from that lens, then we can open ourselves up to the abundance of what's good, right? Okay, Hope, what do you mean feelings equals yuckiness? What does that mean? As I'm telling you, I've come to really love my emotions and my feelings, because I know now that they're cues trying to tell me when something's up, right? if I'm feeling any heaviness in my body, if I'm feeling any, anything that feels within me, I know that there's something that I need to look at. And you always know, right? Your higher self always knows the answer. But it's up to you to get still, to sit down and address it, right? So Hope says, trying to work through them. Yeah, I feel you. You're right. I mean, yeah, working through the feelings and the emotions, it is yucky. I get it. And that's why a lot of the times it is really good to have that support there in place, right? It is the, having the coach there, or having that really loving friend there, or the therapist, or whatever there to support you, right? That's why that is so important. You are always taught not to acknowledge and express your feelings. Yep. I was taught the same thing, Hope. I was taught the same thing. I was taught that, our emotions and our feelings didn't really hold much weight, right? You've got to get out there and hustle, do what you got to do, suck it up, deal with it, yada, 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 right? I know. So it can be really, it can feel like you're going against the grain when you are sitting down and you're really tapping into and looking at your feelings and emotions. And when I first started doing this work, I used to tell myself that, oh my gosh, Kendra, like, you're just being a wuss about this, or you're just being a wimp about this. You just need to deal with it. Kendra, you're just being yes, like you said, a drama queen. Yeah, I would get, you're just being a drama queen. But what I realized is that's just a story. It's not true. It's not true. That's just another side of you, that little girl inside of you, the little boy inside of you, for the men that are watching, that is just scared out of his or her mind, trying to protect herself. So it's like, I got to tell you these things. I got to tell you that you're being a drama queen. You're being too much. You're being over the top, right? And it has something to do with that. Our emotions are simply, they're energy, right? It's energy in motion. And when you stop the forward motion of your emotions, where do you think it goes? It goes in your body. It sits in your body. Right? And so it's telling a new story. And so I've gotten really comfortable with, that's all right. If someone else perceives me as a drama queen, then that's okay. Because I'm going to look at my feelings and my emotions. I'm going to work through them. I'm going to express them in a way that is healthy, in a way that is, that is loving, but I'm going to get them out. I mean, we don't walk around, this is going to sound really silly, but bear with me. We don't walk around like trying to hold our pee all day, right? We don't walk around when we need to go to the bathroom and just try to hold it. Like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So it's the same thing with your emotions and your feelings, right? It's like you're not going to do that. If your stomach is grumbling and you need to go to the bathroom, you're not going to sit there and be like, no, if I do that, then I'm just gross. No, you're going to go handle your business, do what you need to do. Same thing with your emotions. You got to deal with it. So Danetta says, a lot of things that we were taught growing up is in conflict with yourself. Yeah, because here's the thing. Your higher self, capital S, your higher self, which is the God inside of you, your spirit, your soul, always knows the truth, always knows that you are naturally abundant, that you are worthy simply because you're breathing, that you deserve to be loved, that you deserve to have all the things you desire. Your higher self knows that you are capable of creating exactly what you desire. Your higher self knows that you can do anything you want. Like it knows, right? And so when we are kids, we're not really tuned into that at that moment, right? Because we're looking to our authority figures, our parents, our grandparents, whoever that is, older and wiser than us. We're looking to them to give us direction. But what happens is we get older, we start being able to look at things differently. We start being able to think in our own way and choose how we want to become and choose who we want to become. And we choose to, create new beliefs, and we start to see these new things. And that creates conflict with the belief blueprint that we've been programmed by, right? So it is our duty, it is our responsibility to do the work that we need to do on a daily basis, to continually evolve ourselves, to grow ourselves, and to move into the next level, right? It is our duty. And the reason why it's our duty is because we have others behind us, right? I think of my daughter. you all online, I'm sure, have kids, right? I know, Danetta, you have kids. I hope you have kids. Steve, I know you have kids. Everybody watching here probably has kids, right? So it's our duty to do our work on ourselves so that we can release it, so that we can, evolve and get to a higher level, so that we can then show the ones behind us coming up what they need to do, right? It doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect, right? It doesn't mean that we have to be perfect parents, but it means that we have to take full responsibility for our well-being and show our children and those coming up behind us how they can do the same thing, right? Like I know I parent a bit differently than how I was parented growing up, right? I don't, this is just my opinion, but I don't believe in spanking my daughter, right? Like, I used to get some spankings when I was growing up, right? And I wasn't allowed to express my emotions or to say how I felt about things. And so I choose to handle things differently when it comes to discipline with my daughter, right? I choose to allow her to express her emotions, right? She can cry, she can have a meltdown, she can be upset. She is allowed to be mad. I don't care. I'm like, you're allowed to be mad with mommy, right? Mommy's going to do what I feel is best for you, but that doesn't mean that she's not allowed to be upset, right? I'm going to teaching her how to manage her emotions, how to work through her emotions, right? How to actually have her emotions work for her and that they're not bad. And that, she's not bad if she feels sad, right? All of that good stuff. So anyway, we have a duty to do that, right? So I just wanted to talk about this today, you guys. It was something that was on my heart today. And it's a reason why I believe so many, people are just stuck because they won't look at the things that they need to address, right? And this is the core work that we do in my 7-week program, Break Through Your Limits, which, by the way, is open right now for registration, all right? We start on June 11th, so a week from today. The first week will be open for Break Through Your Limits. So, until we actually make the commitment to work on ourselves, to look at the things that we need to shift inside of ourselves, to look at our belief blueprint, to, do the work around releasing the wounds and the hurts. Until we do that, we're just going to keep repeating the same cycle. And we're not here to repeat the cycle. We're here to move it forward, right? We're here to progress and move forward, right? Like that's what we're here to do. We're here to be even better versions of ourselves. We're here to evolve constantly, right? That is what we're here to do. So does anybody have questions? Any questions? I would love to take your questions if you have them. Any questions? Oops. And I'm going to say this real quick before I get off of here. I cannot type and talk. I'm typing a comment for you guys so I can put this in there. If you do decide that Break Through Your Limits is what you decide that you want to do to go through this, there are several bonuses that come with my Break Through Your Limits program. You get my 3-part training series of Potential Unleashed, and you also get my, I think it's a 3-part Potential Unleashed, and then you get a 5-day training of Mindset Magic. There's a journal that comes as a bonus as well. So I've got tons of bonuses that are included with this course and this program. So not only do you get the program, but when you sign up now, you get instant access to those 2 programs. So you can start working on those before we even go live with the course. Okay. So any questions, any thoughts? Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Hope, for being here. Thank you, Danetta. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Aunt Patty, Bunny, Sarah, Somali. I hope I'm saying your name right. And Rhonda. I loved it. Thank you all for being here. I send you massive, massive love. And if you have any thoughts or questions, even if you're watching the recording, leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your questions. And I'll come back and answer them, okay? All right. Love you guys. Bye. See you later.